Okay, so we're currently in lockdown due to coronavirus, so I thought we'd do a beginner's guide to lure fishing, really, how to get into it, how to get started, some of the lures to buy, and shortcut really to get you fishing. So first thing you need is a rod and reel. So I tend to look on places like eBay and the second-hand market and look to buy your lure rod and reel quite cheap. There's loads of bargains to be had out there. So for lure rod wise, I'd be looking at 10 to 30 gram probably for casting weight to start with. I think that's a good sort of all-round rod. You can try lighter lures with that, so if you wanted to fish for perch you could, if you wanted to fish for zander you can, and with that sort of weight you could probably fish for bass as well. So if you're buying a rod, you know, it can go on holiday with you to the reservoirs, or it can go to the coast with you and catch bass. So look for that sort of weighting, probably about 10 to 30 gram. Lengthwise, if you're young and just starting out, you know, look at maybe 7 foot. That'll help with casting, and it's not too heavy. If you're a bit older, a bit larger, then, you know, for me, I use a 9 foot, and then that's a good compromise between weight and casting distance. As for makes, you can use Savage Gear, Shakespeare, Spro. There's lots of good rods out there, Deva rods. So just have a look at the ratings, and yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. Same goes for reels. So like this one, it's a little Shimano Exage. That came from eBay and it cost £20. So there's really good reels out there that you can pick up. This is a 3000 size, which I like for spinning. You can use that for perch, pike and zander, and trout as well. It's yeah, a really good reel. For me, I'd rather spend a little bit more on the reel. I think that's quite important. But I'd go second hand. So for brands, I love Shimano. They're great reels. Ball bearings make a difference, makes it smoother. And yeah, the Day would do good reels as well, but also Fox do some quite good reels. So it's worth looking online for those. See what you can get. Next thing got to do is load the line up. So for this, I'd be looking at maybe if you're doing some spinning for pike and perch, somewhere between the region of about 8 to 12 pound line. Again, fill it right up to the edge of the spool to help you casting. If you're potentially going to be doing and getting into it a little bit more, it might be worth spending a little bit of money and looking at getting braid. For me, braid's a game changer for lure fishing. It reduces the stretch. You can feel when fish are hitting the lures. You can get away with less lead as well. So if you're looking to do that, again, look into getting braid, probably about 15 to 20 pounds. That'll help with casting and sensitivity of feeling the lure. So that's the rod and reel. Next thing you're going to know is you're going to need is wire traces. So there's a wire trace, probably about 30 centimeters, with a snap link at the end. You can see that. So again, with this, it's probably not something I'd scrimp on. You see bundles of traces which are really cheap, sort of £2 for 50, but the snap link swivels on the end of those are really weak. So it's worth spending extra and buying decent wire traces. Don't worry about it putting the perch on, it doesn't, and not the zander either. You can look into getting fluorocarbon traces and stuff if you get into it a little bit more, but I wouldn't worry about that for now. So that's the tackle, the rod, the reel. So the next thing is the lures. So we'll start off with probably the most basic lure, which is a spinner. So that's a blue fox. So it's a Rapala brand. So basic spinner, you cast it out and you wind it in. You go at different depths, different speeds. Optimally is probably a couple of feet off the bottom, so where the pike are waiting, they're looking for food, so if you can work it just above, about a foot above them, that's where they're looking to take. So the spinners come in different sizes, so that's a 0, which would be great for perch and also trout, and this is a great number 6, so this is a real big one that you'd use for pike. I've also had big perch on that as well, they will take it, but the main thing about spinners is buy quality. You buy cheap ones, they don't spin, so these are all good. So that's a Mepps, that's a blue fox, and that's an Ondex, so all these spin. You could buy cheaper ones, you can spend a lot of money buying big kits of spinners and they don't spin, so You know, these are like £2 each, so these are probably the best value spinners that you need. And then going slightly bigger, we've got plugs. So the beauty of these, they cast well, they look like fish, you can't really retrieve them wrong, so you can just cast them out and retrieve them straight away, and they do a little shimmy like that. Or you can do stop start. You'll see in the water, the best advice I can give you when you're lure fishing is to cast your lure out and see it actually working in the water, and adjust it to make it look like an injured fish. But this is Rapala, it's an X-Wrap, so these are the really good lures. Cast well, they last a really long time. They come in different sizes. So again, if I was buying them, I'd probably go for a couple of different colours, maybe an orange and an olive. And then the beauty of this is if you go to the coast and you're fishing for bass, then you can use that for bass as well, and that's an equally good lure for bass. So that's a nice little one as well. So you could use that for trout. That's equally good for trout. And pollock would probably take that as well. Really good lure. So moving down the water column. So if you wanted to use the same rod, you can use that for Zander. So here we've got some little Zander jigs. So these are made by Fox. So again, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You've got 3 or 4 jig heads there, and that's enough to get you started. I tend to have some natural colours, like that, and then I tend to have a few brighter colours. So depending on the water clarity, use something brighter if it's coloured. I have a range of jig heads, probably from, I don't know, 5 to 15 grams, depending on the depth of the water. And then if you buy the coast, these can also be used for bass. So I've caught lots of bass on that one. That's a Spro, I think, and that's a Fox. So bass will take those as well. So it's a multi-purpose outfit if you're going in that sort of range of weight. And then you can go slightly bigger as well. So this is a Savage Gear 3D, so it looks like a brown trout. Again, they're really good action. Might be the top end of your casting. I think that's about 20 odd grams. So, but with this, it's more of a swim bait. So you just wind that in nice and steady, and you can see with that joint in, the tail will go. So again, work the depth, try the different depths, see where the fish are. Look for features where the fish will be holding. So hopefully you hook your fish, you land your fish, landing net, decent landing net. This is another Savage Gear one that's foldable, so you can put it on your backpack. Land your fish, and then I tend to carry a roll-up mat as well, just unhooking mat to put him on. So get him on the mat, and then I'll use either pliers or forceps to take the hook out. And then when he goes back, you can get recover in the net and let him go. The only thing I do as well with a lot of these lures, if they've got trebles on, I'll use the pliers, and I'll probably take most of the barbs off on all my lures. You know, there's enough hook points there for it to get hooked. So yeah, hopefully that's given you a bit of a insight and a beginner's guide to how to start lure fishing. Again, if you know somebody, I can't stress the importance of having somebody to help you unhook pike, because they can be quite tricky and they are a bit more fragile than people realise. So if you do know somebody, get them to go out with you. And yeah, just enjoy it. Lots of lures. Don't spend too much money to start with. Go in cheap, but buy the quality items that I've talked about there, and then go on from there. Yeah, good luck. So another item that I'd be thinking of taking to the bank are sunglasses. It protects your eyes from the sun, protects your eyes from any lures that might hit it as well. And these are polarized, so they've got a really good take the glare off the water, so you can see fish that are following. So you'll be surprised if you can't see through the surface film, then you'll be missing lots of fish that are following the lures. So it gives you a bit of incentive if you get fish following it. And always fish a hat as well, just to keep the sun out, and that helps as well with the fish spotting capabilities, really. So to finish on, probably the top bits of advice I can give you is buy quality lures, buy Rapala, buy Salmo, buy Mepps spinners. It's generally better in the long run, and they'll get you interested and get you fishing and catch your fish. Look at second-hand stuff. Most of my kit is second-hand, so most of my bass stuff is second-hand. So it's yeah, look for it on eBay and places like that. You can pick stuff up for really good deals. When you lure fishing, cover the depths, cover different features, you know, cover as much water as you can. That's really the key. So on the back of that is probably 10-15 casts in one spot, then move, just keep moving. The more you fish you cover, the more chance you have of catching some. So and when you do catch one in a spot, do the same thing and keep fishing those same spots time and time again. Yeah, that's probably it. Good luck. Hopefully we'll be fishing soon. Cheers.